Welcome, everybody, to Den Excelsior, the mostly Marvel podcast. I'm your host, Ricky. With me, as always, we got Dennis,
Mostly.
mostly.
Yeah.
This is episode 176. There's nothing special about this episode.
Oh, that's not true. We're talking about Daredevil, Born Again.
Yeah, season 1, episode 7. How many more episodes we got left?
I got news. We have 2 episodes left, but
Okay.
but according to IMDb, the information that I got last week may have been wrong. Like I was told by a friend of the show, Frank, that he heard the final 2 episodes would be aired together,
Is that not true?
and that is not true according to IMDb. So IMDb says the last episode is April 15th. So we got 2 episodes left, one next week and one the following week. And you don't understand how happy that made me. That completely reframed my mind regarding the episode we're going to talk about tonight.
Does
Like
it?
it does, and I think that's weird. I think it's weird how much it impacts me to know how they release these episodes. But I know I say the word penultimate a lot, right? Like I love that word because it's the second to last episode, and I think that in general, if you're going for the experience of kind of like building up your audience to a climax,
Mhm.
it's really weird to give them the final 2 episodes together when it doesn't feel like it's quite built up to it yet. You know what I mean? So in my mind, watching it, thinking that this was going to be, the last week before the final week, I put a lot of pressure on this episode to get us ready for the final showdown and stuff like that.
That's weird.
But
You're a
but
person that binges shows, so I don't understand how.
I binge shows, but like what I'm saying is like I expect a lot out of the penultimate episode of a show
Yeah, but it's
because
just in either case, this is not the penultimate episode.
in either case, yes. But what I'm saying is like like last week was 2 episodes, right? And we kind of agreed why they needed to drop those 2 episodes together, right?
Mhm.
Because they weren't they weren't complete on their own, right? Neither one was satisfying enough
I
compared to
don't
the
think. I
week
mean, they
before.
weren't complete together in terms of like.
Fair enough. Fair enough. We're not arguing here. We're not arguing. But you know what I mean? Is they didn't feel like a whole, like the way the
Sure.
episode before.
Yeah.
And so I was just kind of afraid that if that's what they were doing with the final 2, it was going to be a similar kind of feeling. But now that I know that next week is the penultimate, and we'll have a week to sit on that and salivate and contemplate and theory craft and do all these things. It's more relaxing to me to know, because I really, like I said from the very beginning, I wanted 9 weeks of this crap. You know what I mean? I wanted it to go for 9 weeks, and they just couldn't do it. But 7 weeks is fine. I'm okay with 7. Yeah, but that's my little preemptive teaser for talking about the show later. I think I did that without spoiling anything about the episode itself. But yeah, I got excited about 15 minutes before we started recording because I looked up. I was like, "Tell me it's not over next week," and the gods answered my prayers. Yeah. But what about you? What if, aside from Daredevil, what have you been nerding out on this week?
The studio. That show's great. That show is really like really good. So that's a Seth Rogen head of studio show with
Mhm.
Catherine Hahn. Um, this week's episode. Well, I had to talk about last week. Last week they do it's a one shot episode about filming a
I
one shot
heard.
episode, and it's
Yeah.
it's it's very meta and like how they managed to fuck up the one shot that they're trying to achieve. But the the technical side of that episode's like pretty phenomenal, even though it's not a true one shot. The the
It's like
time of
1917.
Yeah, the time of day stuff that they do like they shoot during the golden hour, and you can actively see the daylight change. It is kind of like,
That's cool.
they're flexing a bit here.
Yeah.
But the episode was, the premise was, Seth Rogen has to deliver a note to Ron Howard about his newest movie, and the pressures of delivering a note to probably one of the best directors of our time, and how could go good or bad. With the surprise, not cameo. I mean, he's in the most of the episode. Anthony Mackie as himself, who's an actor in Ron Howard's fake movie.
Mhm.
That's a part of it. So it's like a whole bit of will he, won't he tell Ron Howard to take certain bits out of his movie because they suck.
That's funny.
But I will say that show still amazes me for how current it is. Like in Hollywood news, like they do reference some pretty recent stuff that's happened.
Like the fires and stuff, or
Not that current.
okay.
Like Barbie,
Like Diddy?
maybe, yeah. But also they're not afraid to throw punches. I mean, it's Hollywood making fun of Hollywood, right?
Yeah,
But
yeah.
some pretty heavy punches, I think, in the jokes that they pull, but also the people that they get. I mean, obviously Ron Howard, I feel like, is down to clown for this type of thing, but just some of like the B characters that they fill in are typically movie people from Hollywood, like either in a producer role or like director roles, that are just there in the movie.
Yeah.
Or,
Were you saying Barbie is pretty current? Because that was 2 years ago, right?
less than coming out 2 years.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't think that's
Yeah, but
current.
when you're looking at a show that filmed last year,
Yeah. I mean, it's still a year ago beyond that. But yeah. Sure. I get your point. I'm excited to watch it. That's why I've held off on my Apple.
you should get Apple April 21st, because that's when the studio ends on May 21st. So you can get your severance in and then get your studio in all under one.
Nice. Or I just wait till like April 30th just to be safe.
Yeah, you could do that. Other than that, I'm trying to think. Not much else. I did not go to WonderCon. It looked sad. It looked really sad.
Aw.
People said it was very sad. They're actually selling tickets for next year too, right now, as of right now.
That's rough.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I understand that as a whole, Comic-Con went through a lot of hardships, like a couple years ago. And I think they're just trying in a lot of ways to recover from that. I don't know. Did you hear the news that they're going global?
Oh yeah, the Spain Comic-Con.
The Spain Comic-Con, yeah. I
cruise.
talked about that with an insider, and it's not even actually the same people who run Comic-Con.
Is it like a PAX situation where they're just like licensing the name?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I mean, it's a cool experiment, though.
I mean, they're sending people out to kind of supervise and stuff. You like to see, like the plans and everything, but they're not actually day of. Like I don't think it's our Comic-Con employees are going to be running that show.
Is D23 by Disney, or is that Repop too?
I don't remember actually.
I think Celebration's Repop.
Celebration is another company. Yeah,
Star Wars Celebration.
Yeah.
Soon, actually.
Yeah.
I don't know. I am itching to go to another convention. I did the PAX circuit for a minute, and that was a fun time. But even that kind of waned as like there's not like anything big there. It's like
yeah, D23. I liked it. I think I went 3 times total. So in 6 years, in 6 years, I did all 3 in a row. And by the third one, I was getting a little, what's the word I'm looking for? A little fatigued, I guess, because like what it really is just a place to go buy lots of stuff. You know what I mean? Like it's
cool stuff.
Sure. It's there's stuff to buy, but it's just so much shopping there, and it just the fact that you got to pay to shop is just weird. So it just got on my nerves after a while, but I do like the the cushiness of it. It's very
Mhm.
you're very pampered at D23, like in a lot of ways. So it's a cool experience. Disney's trying to give you that elite feeling. But yeah. I nerded out on something this week that I did not expect to nerd out on. It threw me for a loop, but Lindsay and I finally finished Doom Patrol last week because
Mhm.
we remembered that there was some episodes that we never finished because they kind of broke the last season into half. They took a break and
Yeah.
then we just forgot when it came back because the break was very jarring. Like it was like the way Invincible did it. Like for a
Well,
few
because that
months.
show came out like when Max got bought, right?
Yeah. But like by the fourth season, it had already been on the show, or it had been around for a while. The fourth season was like one of those seasons where like when James Gunn had taken over, and they're like, "Oh, don't worry, we're finishing the show anyways." Like it wasn't like
Sure.
So anyways, we finished that last like a week ago or 2 weeks ago, I think. No, I think it was early last week, and it was great. It was awesome. Like and it I would say second strongest ending of any of those DC Greg Berlanti's CW ish type shows. I still think Superman and Lois knocked it out of the park. That was the best one they've done. Doom Patrol was really satisfying and very touching and heartfelt as well. And so I was like, all right, fine. What have I not watched? Because I was like, I'll give him a chance one more time. And then I found Stargirl.
Joe McHale.
And I don't know if you've seen Stargirl. The first 5 minutes of Stargirl is so freaking awesome with Joel McHale in it that I could not help but watch it. And then when my wife got home, I was like, I think you should watch this show. So we started it over. And as of yesterday, we have finished one season of Stargirl.
It's like
And
one of two seasons.
three seasons.
Okay.
Um, I can't speak for the other two seasons, but season one is excellent. It is a great
Who does
show.
Stargirl fight?
So the weird part about Stargirl is the show, because I'm going to be honest, I have not read the books. I've not read Stars and Stripes. That book came out in 1999.
Yeah.
Created by Jeff Johns. I don't know how closely the show follows the comic, other than like the simple beats, but the show itself pretty much plays out like the better version of Runaways. It's the JSA is dead. She is kind of like a legacy character.
How convenient.
She's kind of a legacy character because she finds this item that was owned by the previous Starman, and she finds out her stepdad,
Joe McHale.
Joel McHale, was Starman,
Yeah.
And then she finds out that Luke Wilson, which is the reason I actually tried to watch it, because I was like, Luke Wilson generally pretty good. He was the former like assistant to Starman, and so he, like, as the show progresses, she decides, like, she finds like he has a whole treasure trove of all of the JSA's old like gear, because he doesn't know what to do. He doesn't know what to do with it, and so she discovers a member of the Injustice Society of America is living in the town that they live in, and so she decides that they need to build a new JSA. So she starts giving out the gear to her friends and stuff like that, just anybody she thinks she deserves it. But meanwhile, like, you learn that like the Injustice Society of America, the people who killed the Justice League at the beginning of the first episode, they're still alive and well, and they've been plotting to like take over America from Nebraska. And so what you have is all these old like adults who now have children, and like their children are being kind of groomed to replace them, but they don't necessarily want to, in the same way that Runaways, right? But I think the reason the show executes better is like the thing that always bugged me about Runaways, like I know you know Runaways because I got you that book a million years ago, is I never liked that their parents weren't actually established Marvel villains.
Yeah, they're kind of new.
They just made them up for the
Yeah.
story, right? It was almost like Marvel wouldn't let them use anybody, any legacy or any old school characters and stuff. And until Victor La Mancha came around, right? And then like he was like a Doom bot or something, right? So like yeah. So it always kind of bugged me that we just had to like have all these bootleg villains created for Runaways. And I think the cool thing about this show, Stargirl, is the villains are actually real established. I mean, they may be hokey, but they're established, you know, DC villains from way back in the day. You know, like it's like Icicle is another ice villain. Like DC has way too many ice villains. Like they just have too many. But the Shade or Abracadabra, they call him the Wizard in the show, but if you've ever watched Young Justice, have you ever watched that show?
I've seen bits of Young Justice.
A lot of the villains from Young Justice are the villains in this show. So it's almost like a Teen Titans kind of adjacent show. You know what I mean? Where it's a bunch of teenagers who have to fight the old people that are the villains and stuff like that. But super good, super like heartwarming show. Breck Basinger is a great lead character. But I think what really sells that show is like they have Luke Wilson and Amy Smart as the parents. And like I've always loved Luke Wilson and Amy Smart. I mean, they're like I grew up with those actors. So like it was really fun to see them be like the kind of anchor of the show and really really be a supporting family for a superhero. It's kind of cool, you know. It's kind of like you know how Kamala Khan has like a family that supports her superhero-ness, you know, like it's pretty fun, man. Like I highly recommend if you want to give it a chance. Also like super comic accurate costume. Like Stargirl.
Yeah, I will say her costume looks good.
It looks exact, and like the special effects they put into her little cosmic staff are impressive. The special effects they put into everybody else are not. I will say that. Solomon Grundy is in the show. He is a giant CG effect. He is quite the budget Hulk. It's rough at times. It's rough, but I appreciate that Solomon Grundy's in the show. You know what I mean? Like he's an actual giant CG character. It's not like a ghetto version where it's like, yeah, they're trying. They like Solomon Grundy is a big scary monster in the show, and I'm like, that's cool that they did it. You know, like Stripe is a giant robot that goes around doing robot stuff. You know, and so it's legit. I was kind of I told Lindsay, you know, like, oh hey, this show came out in like 2020, and that's kind of crazy. And she's
Solomon like, Grundy, he's missing the noose.
He doesn't always wear a noose, okay? Like he doesn't have to wear a noose all the time. Like not every iteration of Solomon Grundy wears a noose.
A lot of them do though.
But when I told her it came out in 2020, she was like, that's kind of a bummer because like I would have really liked watching this as it came out because it would have been something to look forward to during a really crappy time in America, you know what I mean? So, or in the world. But we're watching it now, and it's highly recommend if you're somebody who's interested in dipping your toes into the DC universe but you don't know anything about it, and don't worry because I barely know anything about these characters, but they make you love them, you know, like it's really cute.
Who's Stargirl?
Breck Basinger.
Why does that sound familiar?
She's a Nickelodeon star. I looked her up. Her parents are not known or famous.
They're not the famous Basinger.
She's not Alec Baldwin's kid. No. She's not Kim Basinger's kid.
Oh, she's in the new Final Destination. There you go.
Yeah. No, she's really good in the show. So if you ever feel like checking it out, it's on Max, and it's pretty cool. I can't promise seasons 2 and 3. I was even being skeptical. I was like, there's no way seasons 2 and 3 are going to be as good because I know these guys. I know what they do. They inevitably shit the bed. So, but I had more faith after finishing Doom Patrol. It wasn't an entire mess. It was a little sloppy, but like I think Doom Patrol made me feel a little more comfortable about venturing into Stargirl. I think they learned a lot from the mistakes of Arrow and Flash and Supergirl and Black Lightning and Legends of Tomorrow. Am I missing one? Like there's a lot of them, man.
Wasn't Vixen a show for like a minute?
Vixen was a show on CW Seed. It was the app version. It's an animated show, but it featured Flash and Green Arrow in it. Yeah. But all the same producers, same people running all the shows, and so
I don't think I've ever watched The Flash or Green Arrow.
Yeah,
the shows always just felt like Power Rangers to me.
It's just Arrow. The one thing I will say about Stargirl that legitimizes it a little bit more than the others is most like it's executive produced by Jeff Johns, and a lot of the episodes are actually written by Jeff Johns, and he is the creator of the character back in 1999. So like I think that's
either goes really well or really bad.
Yes, Jeff Johns has also did some executive producing on Smallville. Stargirl appeared in Smallville way back in the day too. That was not good. It was not good. But I mean, give him enough time to take a great story like Runaways and adapt it into a good TV show that's better. I think it's better than Runaways. So the show, I'm saying. You've seen the show Runaways, right?
I've seen bits of the show, yeah.
It's not good.
No, it's not good.
It's not good. But anyways, there you go. I hope I filled your time with some nerdy insights.
You filled a lot of time. I didn't think we were talking about Stargirl today, but here we are.
We did. And but yeah, I just like whenever like Lindsay can learn more about Marvel or DC, because she actually wanted to know. She's like, she starts asking me all these questions about Icicle, like what's Icicle's deal? I'm like, Lindsay, I wish I could tell you. I was like, I just know he's another ice dude. Like, but she became fascinated with Icicle because like the actor who plays him is really cool and interesting. And yeah, she just like, it's fun to watch, your significant other like take an interest in this crap that you used to get picked on for nerding out on when you were a kid. Like it's cool. It's fun to have somebody to like, share that kind of stuff without the picking on part. So
yeah, she does it behind your back.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, you and the lady might enjoy Stargirl. It's pretty cute. Joel McHale is quite funny on that show as well.
I don't like Joe McHale.
Yeah, he's easy to not like. I do understand that, and that's why that's why the role that they picked for him is quite awesome because it's intentionally unlikable. But it's good. It's a good use of him. So, yeah.
All right. Let's make good use of this show and deliver some news. Where to begin?
CinemaCon?
Yeah, we can actually start with CinemaCon. So that ended today. The the Disney panel was today. The only really big highlights from that, they showed some Fantastic Four footage. Basically confirming that Sue's pregnant. In that movie, it's kind of cool. They gave a first look at the name's gonna. How do you say the Silver Surfer?
Norrin Rad,
but the wife.
Oh,
Shayla, right? Sheila,
no,
not Sheila.
No.
Sheila Bale.
Shambhala, or wait, no. Read it to me. Sorry.
Hold on, let me.
It's like Shambhala or
Shalabal.
Shalabal. Yes,
Yeah.
Shalabal. Yeah,
Shalabal.
they showed her
They showed her.
as
That hasn't come out yet.
as a Silver Surfer.
Yeah. So, but she is now confirmed to be playing.
Shalabal,
Yes, a Silver Surfer.
not Norrin Rat. Okay,
Yeah,
I'm fine with
she's
that.
still Silver Surfer.
I'm fine. No, I know. I didn't say that she wasn't. I said, I just didn't want her to be Norrin Rad. That's all. Like I just wanted her to be Shala Ball. You know what I mean? Like it's fine if you want to do the female Silver Surfer, that's fine. Just don't market it as the guy. You know what I mean? Like that's weird.
Silver
Like,
Surfer, Princess Shalabal.
sure, whatever, it's fine.
DC showed yesterday. They she showed today, like 5 minutes of Superman. That's online right now. You can watch that.
Oh, I did.
You know what's funny? That was supposed to be attached to Minecraft. That's coming out tomorrow.
Yeah.
And that movie's not doing. That movie's not
are bad,
so great,
right?
so they just put it out online.
Yeah.
It looks like Superman. He gets healed by the sun. He got the robots, the helpers.
It was so good. It was so good. I cannot wait for this movie, Ricky. Like that little extra, because it essentially it's like almost 5 minutes, and like the last 2 minutes is like the original trailer.
Yeah.
But the extended part is Crypto saving him at the beginning. It's a much longer scene that you see everything play out as what happens when he brings him back to the fortress. You see his Superman robots that are there to bring him into the table and get him operated on, and you get a little insight into their personalities. He's like, thank you. And he's like, oh, you don't need to thank us because it doesn't mean anything to us, and then when they put him on the chair, and they realize, oh, he just needs some sunlight, and the entire Crystal Fortress shifts direction.
Yeah, I thought that was cool.
To aim at the sun, and then they magnify it and blast him with it. Ah, man. James Gunn is cooking. He's cooking, man. He's cooking.
They showed a little bit of Dynamic Duo, but that's not a public release as of yet.
Have they cast the Batman or not? Because like, here's what I heard. Have you've seen the State Farm commercial?
Oh yeah.
From what Lindsay read online is James Gunn has stated that is the actual person they cast as Batman, but they're not revealing who the actor who played him in the State Farm commercial is yet.
Jason Bateman?
No, the Batman in the commercial.
I don't believe that one bit.
Yeah, neither do I, but like that's what the internet told her when she looked it up. Yeah.
Sure. The only other big DC, I don't say big, but on their slate for next year for sure is going to be Supergirl, which is known, and Clayface. That movie's happening and it's coming out next year. That's fast. Mike Flanagan's Clayface.
I feel like the order of operations is wrong here. Like I think when
apparently that script is so amazing that they're like, we got to get this out now.
Okay, it's fine.
I can't wait for my Clayface toys. It's like Clayface slime.
Sure. I think I really want the foundation of a good DC universe built, and I hope that it's not all on the back of Superman, dude. I really hope it's not all on the back of Superman. Like, it would be nice to know that the JSA existed in this universe before the Justice League. You know what I mean? Like, because that's kind of like the idea is like there were heroes long ago, and then like Superman, it kind of like Watchmen. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Superman
bridges the gap between the two, right?
Yeah, kind of. Superman, once he came and showed up, the world changed forever, right? And like the heroes of the past just don't cut it like they do now. Like, and so like, I mean, you got to remember that Watchmen, originally Alan Moore wrote it with the intent of using actual DC characters. And then when the rape stuff kind of showed up, and DC's like, could you change it a little, please? Because I don't know how we want these characters to be. I get it from a brand, you know, like
We're not there yet.
yeah, they weren't ready for that. But can you imagine, by the way, if Watchmen did use the DC characters, like they'd be cemented
They're
as the
trying
greatest.
to, right? I mean, well, they're shoehorning them back in, but yes.
That's not the same. It's not the same. But
Not
what
the
I'm
same.
saying is, like, you know what I mean? Like, I want that kind of world to have existed in the same way as like Watchmen. Like, I want the JSA to be like, that's why I liked Blue Beetle, right? Because Blue Beetle was kind of setting that groundwork a little bit, right? They're saying, here's Jaime Reyes, but just to be clear, there was an old school one a long time ago, and he's way campier, you know, and like all gimmicky and stuff like that. And we might even use some of his gimmicks, like his big tank and stuff like that. You know, like it's very obvious Blue Beetle, the old school Blue Beetle, was the reference point for like Night Owl in Watchmen. You know what I mean? Like, so I think I still want to know, is that Blue Beetle canon? Is it part of the universe? Like, is it?
It isn't till it is.
Yeah,
that's all that matters.
But you know what I mean? So like, I just hope that there's like ways to hint at like a history of superheroes in this world.
Yeah, you want it lived in. You want to live in.
I want it lived in. Yeah. I want them to be renting the apartment from somebody who lived there a long time ago, you know, something like that. So I'm just, that's why I believe Mike Flanagan doing Clayface, it'll be awesome. I'm sure it will. I just don't know if like, is the jump Creature Commandos, Superman, Supergirl, then Clayface.
Yes. That's what it is. Sorry. Maybe there's a Peacemaker sprinkled in there, which doesn't help.
I know, right? Like, okay. I did see a lot of fun April Fool's stuff about the World's Finest movie happening and stuff, and it was such trolls.
The last bit of news coming from Sony from CinemaCon. Two biggest pieces of news. Spider-Man Beyond the Spider-Verse coming out June 4th, 2027. 2027.
That hurts so bad.
That trilogy has spanned 3 presidential terms.
That's so rough, man.
That's crazy.
And that's current. That's currently. Yeah. We don't know if that's the actual date we're going to get.
They said that movie is coming out in 2024. Here we are.
I know, dude.
But it's the Millers, right? You can't. If anyone can ask for more time, I think they've earned the right to ask for more time. What they're doing with those movies is pretty cool. Just kind of a bummer. You have to wait 3 years or 2 more years.
It's crazy, man. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what they were thinking of, but I have to believe it's just like so much internal complications that happen. Like, but the real thing that really bums me out is like, I don't like the second one as much as the first one because I feel like the behind the scenes, like the hands, you know, there's too many hands, too many cooks in the kitchen. Mm-hmm. I think that's my problem with it. I know I'm in the minority. I know most people think the second one is as awesome as the first one. I wholly disagree, because the first one stands alone on its own. It could have stopped then, and I would have been entirely happy for the rest of my life. I would have said that is the greatest superhero movie ever made. But then we had to get a sequel that complicated things, and that's fine. Complicating things is fine. But what made it more complicated is it just felt like Sony needed more out of this movie. It needed it to promote Venom. You know what I mean? It needed it to have Mrs. Chen, or what was her name? Is it
Mrs. Chen? Yeah.
Yeah, Mrs. Chen. It needed to have Mrs. Chen, which like is so peripherally like dumb. Like it
That
doesn't.
franchise would have started and ended during the duration of these movies.
I know, right? It just it needed extra things in it that I don't think were necessary. And then you tell me that there's all this behind the scenes turmoil going on with this movie, and next thing you know, we're not getting it to 2027. I'm really concerned that they're gonna break the freaking cookie jar before it ever even gets to be made. Like I'm just a little worried. I know I mix my metaphors there, but it's just too many hands. Too many hands.
Too many hands.
Yeah.
But not too many Spider-Man. Because we are getting the fourth Tom Holland movie, fourth Tom Holland Spider-Man movie, Spider-Man Brand New Day, coming out next year, July 31st. Brand New Day has some significance in the comic books. It is a named comic run.
Yeah. Brand New Day is the appropriate title for this, because like the plot of, you remember, we all remember the plot of the last movie is he got Doctor Strange to erase his existence.
It's a loose take on One More Day.
Yeah, it's a loose take on One More Day. So Brand New Day makes sense that that is the next movie, because that storyline kickstarted a reboot of Spider-Man in the comics, where he suddenly now got to have his anonymity back. There was a trick though, which is probably pretty implied. It's an implied outcome of the Doctor Strange scenario, which is he didn't get to be with Mary Jane anymore, like at the beginning of that story, like for a long time in Brand New Day. And so I wouldn't be surprised if Zendaya's not in the movie, but she could be.
I mean, she's definitely. I think she's in the movie.
Okay. She could have a reduced role. Like the idea is he could be dating people that aren't Zendaya.
Yes. There is a Sadie Sink there who you may or may not have a romantic interest in.
And just to be clear, like from like, because again, behind the scenes kind of stuff, Joe Quesada had done interviews back in the day for why they, as a team of Marvel writers, agreed to do this to Spider-Man back then in like the early 2000s or mid 2000s, post Civil War, is they felt like they had told all the stories they could tell with Peter as a married man, and they felt like there was a lot of stuff left on the table from before he was married that they never got to do, and they just thought it'd be fun to have him be single again, but without like divorcing Mary Jane, you know what I mean? So like they just mess with the universe so that he and Mary Jane don't remember being together, like that was Mephisto's stipulation in the deal. So I guess this is Peter's chance to fall in love with somebody else and maybe realize it's the wrong person. But it also gives him a hall pass to go bang like Black Cat and other characters too, right? So
yeah,
it's a hall pass. Brand New Day is fully a hall pass for Spider-Man. That's all it is.
It's directed by Destin Daniel Cretton, who did Shang-Chi. I feel like this movie, I have full confidence that he can. He's more than capable director for a Spider-Man movie. The fighting in Shang-Chi was probably the strongest part of that movie, and to see Spider-Man get to do cool fighting like that is a win. But I find this movie like, hey bro, we took an Avenger movie from you. We got to give you something, so let's give you like the coolest other toy that we have.
I don't think it's that they took an Avengers movie from him. It's that I think it works pretty good in the story right now that nobody knows who the hell Spider-Man is anymore. You know?
Well, yes, yeah. He gets a blank slate with the Spider-Man.
I think it's better to not use Spider-Man in every Avengers story because it makes it more special when he does show up.
But you're talking. I mean, he was set to direct King Dynasty. Is what I'm saying.
Oh, you mean from Daniel? Okay, Destin Daniel.
Yes, from his.
I thought you meant they took one from Tom Holland.
They took an Avenger movie from
Yeah, that's pretty funny. I forgot about
So
that.
yeah, I feel like you have the pick of the litter on what other character that you want to do.
Fair enough. I totally forgot that he was set to. There's just an alternate timeline where we're geeking out on Avengers Kang movies. Like there's that.
Interesting enough, this movie comes out after Doomsday, too.
Okay.
Which Tom Holland, he did not have a chair last week, but
That is a 1-2 punch and a half right there. Just so you know, like that
yeah,
is box office dominance for Marvel right there. Is an Avengers movie and a Spider-Man movie in the same summer. Woo! That's money like they haven't seen in a while. That's pretty crazy. That's exciting. That's exciting. And Daredevil will be in it too.
I mean,
Charlie Cox would like that to happen
I
really
mean,
badly.
he was in one Spider-Man movie. You said he can't be in another.
Yeah. You got any other news? Non-CinemaCon? By the way, did you
There,
check out that Megan 2 trailer?
I've never seen Megan one.
Oh man, you gotta watch Megan. It's so good. It's so fun. It's a fun movie.
Didn't really. I don't like Chucky
It's
as a
not
kid.
like it's
It's the
not like Chucky.
same pillar.
Sure, but like there's a million movies that are like Groundhog Day. That doesn't mean they're all bad.
Never seen Groundhog Day, so
My point
uh,
is you can make a genre of a movie and not every movie in that genre is inherently the same.
real quick, Marvel Legends new season coming out. It is the Hellfire Gala, so that's the theme. It's a lot of cool costumes based on
Marvel
sorry
Legends?
Marvel Rivals. So
Oh, okay. Yeah,
Marvel
yeah, yeah.
Marvel Legends got announced on May 1st.
Oof.
Um, we can just go through a few of
April 1st.
them.
April 1st.
April 1st. You got a Maximum Hulk, which for all you Hulk clapping fans, he's gonna do it.
The Thunderclap. I gotta say that one on paper, when I was looking at it, sorry, not on paper. On just looking at it, I was really trying to understand what made that a Maximum series figure, because it looks a hell of a lot like the 80th anniversary figure
Mm-hmm.
that came with Wolverine. I
Mm-hmm.
think we got that one back at Comic Con at like Entertainment Earth or something like that a million years ago. Um, but I was like trying to understand how this figure was better, because he didn't even have butterfly shoulders to go back. Like the big
Yeah,
complaint back in the day was always that, like, why doesn't the Hulk have a butterfly that go forward so that he can touch his own hands, And so when they showed him doing the clap, I was very confused. Do you know what they did?
yeah. It's like a soft plastic, like almost like
It's a
cape material.
His entire chest piece is soft plastic, so he does have hidden butterfly joints that both go forward and backwards, but they didn't want to ruin the shape of the figure with the cuts, so
Yeah,
they just hide them. Now
I think it looks cool.
I think it's a cool idea in theory.
Mm-hmm.
My counterpoint is McFarlane. McFarlane uses soft plastics for the crotches, and they're famous for being called diaper crotches, because the soft plastic covers the joints, and it actually bends with the legs
Mm-hmm.
when you move them,
Yeah,
right?
it's you can't leave these. It's like the Hot Toys issue, right? You can't leave them in certain poses for too
You
long.
can't leave them there like that. Yeah. And so my other question becomes, okay, if that's the immediate concern, is you can't leave them in the thunderclap for more than a couple hours, right? What happens when that toy has been in your collection for 10 years? Is that chess piece dehydrating? Is it becoming brittle?
Yeah,
Is
you're gonna
it,
buy another one. You're gonna buy the second Maximum Hulk wave.
you know what I mean? I like, it's kind of like, I'm not saying it's not cool. I'm just saying, like, I think that they're I thought for a while now that there was being more consideration done towards, like, building out your awesome collection. And I think if the implication of the Maximum series is this is the one to rule them all for the ultimate version of this character. And they did a really good job with Spider-Man, right? Like Spider-Man is completely re-engineered from the ground up. That might be the greatest Spider-Man toy you'll ever need to buy, right? So now I'm just like, okay, one, I see the pins on the legs in the Hulk because you're reusing the pins on the legs from the old Hulk. I'm seeing a soft goods piece of, or not soft goods, but soft plastic use on the chest that has concerns whether or not the longevity is going to be there. And now we're 2 into this Maximum series, and I'm already questioning how maximum it is. You know what I mean? Like, I think that's my problem with it. Do I think it's a cool looking figure? Yes. Do I think that they have every intention of replacing it down the line? Absolutely, because it's not sustainable. You can't keep that thing like forever, you know? So that's, yeah, like I have the McFarlane freaking Batman that came with the Batmobile. I don't leave him in the Batmobile because his underwear will be permanently bent forever if I do that. You know what I mean? And that's just dumb.
So you're not supposed to play with your toys. You just leave them there forever.
It's so frustrating.
Let's burn through some of these real quick. You got a 2-pack for the Thunderbolt with the Elena and Red Guardian. You also got a 2-pack for the Thunderbolt with
Sentry and
the U.S. Agent.
U.S. Agent, yeah. Finally
Funny
redoing
enough,
the U.S. Agent with the correct colors.
Yes. Finally redoing the U.S. Agent, and also our first look at Sentry, which is kind of funny.
I know, right? That was kind of weird, right? They were allowed to spoil it.
He looks like Sentry.
He looks like Sentry. That's all.
We get
not as buff.
Spider-Man 3 black suit, Toby.
You better believe I pre-ordered the crap out of that so bad today. I went up today and I just like I couldn't resist it. I don't know why. I don't even think it's a perfect figure.
Effect though is weird.
The Venom effect's kind of cool, but like the hair,
he doesn't do that in the movie. Yeah, the hair looks cool.
He doesn't do that in the movie?
No, he doesn't.
Not to Peter, huh? Not to Peter.
No.
He does it to Topher,
yeah, when Topher is Venom. But not even that though. He doesn't. We got a Velocity suit from the game re-release. But it's an updated figure.
It's a repainted. Because I think they added. I think it's accurate though, because I think they did the Velocity suit again in Spider-Man 2, but
it's like a glossy paint this time. Yeah,
but it's different colors too. Yeah.
We have a Mystique and a Weapon X figure.
The Mystique is finally
Madame Mask.
The Mystique is finally the double jointed pinless Mystique that they promised us when they re-released her in the VHS box, and everybody was super pissed because the picture they showed us versus what we got were 2 very different things. So cool for that. I don't understand the retro carded Weapon X though. Like that's the same figure. It's just a new head.
Comes with an extra head. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's a different.
I feel like that's.
I guess. I mean, we're getting cheap now at this point. Like that's. Yeah, and then the Madame Mask
cool. And Crossbones. That's a cool
like
one.
The third or fourth Crossbones that they've ever released. So cool.
We got a She-Hulk on the retro card with the weights.
I love that because she's the repaint that we needed, and 2, the alternate head is really good. Yeah. So I'm just saying the ponytail is great. Yeah. I can almost finally replace my Comic-Con exclusive She-Hulk that came with Barbie doll clothes.
A-Force or 18?
No. That's the other. There's been multiple She-Hulks that have released at Comic-Con. Actually, there's been 3. But one of them was a Comic-Con exclusive that came with soft goods clothes. Like she came with a lawyer outfit, and you can take the lawyer outfit off, and she had the ponytail also. And you take all that off, and then she's wearing the Fantastic Four costume underneath.
No, that's kind of cool.
And it was the only way to get the Fantastic Four costume back then, which was Comic-Con. So yeah. But it's still a great
figure. That's the news.
That's fun news. I liked it.
A lot of news.
You want to talk about Daredevil?
I do want to talk about Daredevil.
just so you know, the internet lied to my wife, and it turns out that the guy who played the Batman in State Farm was revealed to be Nicholas Hayner, aka Nick Filiali, a stunt performer whose credits include Captain America: Civil War and some other stuff. It is most likely not the guy that James Gunn has cast to do Batman. So
Yeah,
I
I'm
will be
hoping it
sure to
is.
let her know. But that's cool. I thought it was Alan Richardson, honestly, when I first saw that trailer, but it's not. Anyways, Daredevil time. What did you think of this episode? What was it called? Art for Art's sake.
Art for art's sake, we see the rematch between Muse and Daredevil. I enjoyed this episode, but I didn't love it.
I agree. And I think it's because it felt like Muse was a diversion and an excuse just to get Daredevil back in the suit.
Mm-hmm.
And while he could have been a really interesting character that played out over the course of like the whole season, they wanted to just wrap him up now so that we can focus more on the Daredevil kingpin of it for the final 2 episodes. And I feel like that was a disservice to Muse because we were just starting to get to know the character, and then they're like, we're done with
Well,
this.
that didn't bother me as much. So Muse in the comics is kind of more of a he dies and a copycat takes his place. So there's other bits in the trailers that of episodes that we haven't seen that to me indicate that a Muse is still out there.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
I don't mind the almost villain of the week nature of Muse. But it just seemed like this episode was okay. We've been doing these other things for the past couple weeks. Like, let's try to like put them back together
Let's
and
rein it in.
rein it in. And like, it just kind of felt very like mishmash. Like it was a.
I think that's kind of the problem with the whole season, though, is that there's a mismatch happening because they're using stuff from that they filmed years ago versus stuff they filmed last year. You know what I mean? And
Yeah, I
like,
mean, it's very different stories, very different direction.
I think that's why the bank episode feels so weird, right? Because like it was probably an episode that they already did back in the day, and it was just like, this works good enough. You know what I mean? But like, I think my bigger problem, besides the Muse being kind of a throwaway character in this episode, is the links they went to make Heather important to all the stories. You know what I mean? Like it was one thing for me, and don't get me wrong, I know they planted the seed early in that episode where Heather's doing the signing of her new book. She meets 2 people, one back to back, right? She meets first the guy that's obviously going to be Muse. Like I could tell right away that guy was Muse when he's like, "I need help, please." She's like, "I'll pencil you in." And then the second guy she meets is Buck, right? Who's there to hire her on behalf of Wilson so she can be the couples counselor. Now, it was one thing for her to be couples counselor to them through this whole season. It's actually been kind of funny because it's like, you know, she can't share anything with Matt, even though she knows, and you know, she's working basically with the guy that Matt hates the most on this planet. But then, like, to also have Muse show up and make her the center of his world, that just felt forced. Like it felt.
I mean, I take it as comics, right? I think that's the comics disbeliefs that you pass on with some of these shows. Like if that was in a comic book, I don't think you would bat an eye on it. Like they don't the patient seeking a psychiatrist trope is not like the craziest hoop to jump through, right?
No, it's not. But it's like when the coincidences become piled on top of each other, that's when it just becomes a little too heavy-handed. Like, so now it's also the same person who's seeing Wilson Fisk is seeing Muse as her patient, and now also she just happens to be this doctor who's considering writing a book on vigilantes, and she doesn't even realize that she's dating Daredevil. You know what I mean? There's a lot of contrivances happening with Heather I feel like Heather's being forced on us like a little too much. Like I like when Heather was a little bit more of this background character who was like, what she was is like, she's this a diversion for Matt, right? Because he's not being truthful with her at all, right? Through the whole season, he is like, he's keeping her at a distance. He's having fun taking her to Pound Town regularly, but he's not sharing anything about his life with her, really, right? Like he's and he's putting up walls, right? And it's kind of weird that a therapist isn't really calling him out often on the walls he's putting up. She's kind of ableist, right? Because she kind of shirks a lot of things off as like, oh, it's because he's blind. And or he even does that sometimes. And he's like, it's a blind thing. And I'm like,
you tell me, is Daredevil an ally or not? Like,
I don't know. Sometimes I feel like he's not sometimes. But my point is, I was okay with her.
They do put a lot on her plate in the narrative.
Thank you. Yes, that's what I'm trying to say. Is like she suddenly got thrust upon us to be in the foreground of this story, and it just felt a little too much. And
she's not a comic entity either. She's just a new character.
Yeah, and so I think that's what kind of rubbed me the wrong way about her and the story. That said, I'm perfectly happy to see where it goes. You know what I mean? I just felt like you said, there's a little bit of mishmashiness going on with this episode. The most exciting part for me was just every time I stare at Ayala, Angela Ayala, and I can just see how badly she wants to go find that freaking medallion. Like, that actress is selling it. You know what I mean? She's selling the foreshadowing really hard. I appreciate her a lot. Like, she's a background character that I want to see later in the foreground, right? Like, she's the one I want to be thrust upon us, not Heather. Like, I like, just even saying Heather just sounds boring to me.
I thought the Sherry stuff was weird too. Like, he's upset with Matt obviously because he acted on the Muse tip that he told not to, and it's like, he stopped a serial killer, but like,
you're right. You're right, and I'm gonna piggyback on that. It wasn't just the Cherry stuff; it was also the Kristen stuff too, right? Because then Kirsten's trying to make herself important again to the story by saying, "Hey, Cherry, I don't like what you're doing with Matt," and like she has her whole scene with him, and it's like, okay, made up characters, you guys are all trying a little too hard in the same episode to compete for my attention. Chill out, just slow down. Like, maybe do one at a time. But I think that's what it was for me, right? Is it was Heather, Cherry, and Kristen all being simultaneously important to the story, and also Buck to a certain degree too. Like, but I kind of like Buck, right? Because Buck was, I like the ending of this episode, which is
Buck. The end was great. The setup that they had for what was his name?
Luca. Yeah. See, I like when you take a side character like Luca and then kill him. Like, that's good. That's the appropriate thing to do to these characters. What were you gonna say there?
I like part of, like, I like the violence of the fight scene in Heather's office, but
yeah,
the editing in that fight's bad. It's bad. It's very quick.
Yeah.
It's very sporadic. You don't get, like, in a show that's known for its long takes or it's letting you sit on some of the action, to have like the fight be very like cut. It's weird. It's just like a weird take on it.
Yeah.
It feels very disjointed.
I will tell you the things I like, because I know we seem to be harping on this one a lot more than it does need to be. One, I like Vanessa in this episode.
Vanessa's great.
She was excellent. Every time she does another episode, I'm like, I can't believe they tried to fire this woman from this show. She's so good. I liked Daniel. I liked how Daniel finally like got leverage on BB. and now she's in the pocket. Right now, we got a journalist that potentially, which way is she gonna go? Right? Is she gonna go the way of Ben, or is she gonna try to survive? And like the way that interaction occurred, where he was basically threatening her career. That was really cool. Like, I like seeing the dirtiness of this world. I also like seeing like the detective that figured out, Daredevil showed up and solved the case and everything, or I mean found Muse, and he's like, okay, I'll take it from here. And I'm like, well, I don't think the mayor, I don't think that's how law enforcement works.
Oh my! And they're throwing around that language of like, you guys are the thin line between this country,
the thin black line, or the thin gray line. Yeah.
Oh man, they're
all of that. I loved it so much. I couldn't get enough of it. So I think Wilson kept the ship on course, and I think the Matt stuff got a little weird.
Well, the core story of both men returning to form, I think that's still a win. That's a positive thing. That's ultimately what's going to be driving this show.
Yes.
And spoilers, they're both probably back for another season, right? It's like, that dynamic is strong enough to do that, to carry that. But the side character stuff, the B plots, and
the C plots too.
The C plots, like it's definitely. I don't want to knock. Again, this show was scrapped, reworked, reshot, and then kind of mishmashed together. Because financially, you can't just do that, right? You can't just reshoot shows.
Yeah.
So you have to give it some grace in that department. Like it's to that extent, it's kind of amazing that the show is moving, fairly well, given that circumstance.
Yeah, it's almost like, and it's weird because we know so much about the behind the scenes, right? And that's why I say, like, everything kind of colors my opinion of the show. Like, even the release schedule that they choose colors my opinion of it too, right? Like I was saying earlier. But I think it's almost like, because we know so much about the craziness that behind the scenes of this movie or the show, it's almost like we just are rooting for them to make it to the finish line. Just make it to the finish line, because we know that season 2 is happening, and then that's when we will finally judge you on the quality of your storytelling, right? Because right now what we're judging them on is the quality of their crazy editing that they're doing here.
It's a baseball team that's going to make the playoffs. They're not going to win.
Yeah.
But you have hope for next year. I think that's best case scenario for the show. Analogy. And I think the show is on track to do that.
Yeah, it's going to make the playoffs. It's going to make the playoffs, because I will say this. Like, here's the weird part about it. I think out of context, I think that bank episode is amazing.
It's out of Daredevil.
Out of context,
it's a good
right?
Daredevil one shot.
It's a one shot, right? It's like one of those things you used to get on the DVDs, right? Like the Blu-rays, when you get a Marvel one shot, and you're like, whoa, what is this? I think that bank episode is awesome out of context. In context, I think it's the worst episode of this entire season, because it just completely derails the train. You know what I mean? Like,
the witnesses in that bank scene are terrible. Like,
yes,
blind guy was like beating up people.
Yes, exactly.
It's like questions.
Yeah, so it's really funny because, like, I would love to be able to see it through the rose-colored glasses of like, wow, this is just awesome Daredevil, because it is. Like, whoever wrote that individual episode did a great job and executed on a lot of the cinematography of that episode. But we're looking at these as seasons, and like or more, maybe, longer. Like, this is all a continuation of 3 seasons of a show that took place before, and so it just doesn't fit right. And so I think I'm hoping that we don't get many more of those before we get to the end. And so this Muse one, yes, we got us a little back on track, But we also wobbled a little bit at certain times too. Like I think Wilson did a better job of getting us back on track, So
credit to Muse for being a really good artist. His drawings are so good that Daredevil can feel them and know that it's his.
Well, in fairness, and Daredevil can do that. He can feel. I mean, it was a painting. It's like an oil painting, right? Or blood painting. Like, so there's texture to it. So, but yeah, we won't get into that. I feel you. I understand. Like, I get it. But I will say this: one more nitpick.
Mm-hmm.
When Powell showed up while Daredevil's at the crime scene, like investigating, trying to find clues to help him find Muse, and Powell showed up. He walks in, and before he can even say anything, Daredevil whips that guy in the forehead with the stick, right? With his billy club. The second he did that, I said to myself, why the hell didn't he do that to Muse last week when he clearly got up and started walking out the door as he's helping Angela? You know what I mean? It's not like you're not able to hear Muse get up. Like that still rubs me wrong from last week. I just don't understand.
He had to make another episode.
Yeah, I know, right? Like that's like I actually kind of would have been happier if he just caught Muse last week. Like, because then we could have been back on track of like who caught him. Oh, Daredevil caught him. Like I do appreciate
to that point. It doesn't really affect the story too much. I mean, it's you caught him a day later.
Yeah, exactly. And Wilson still could have like praised his elite, crime fighting force for being responsible for it. They were just as responsible either way, and they weren't. They didn't do anything. You know what I mean? So like, yeah, it felt like one episode could have been made out of the two episodes, right?
Yeah.
Like the same way we said the last two didn't feel whole. Yeah, it was probably because they were 3 episodes that could have been mashed together. So,
but I'm still excited to see how they stick the landing. I mean, I think it's an interesting premise right now that Kingpin has this anti-vigilante task force, right? And he knows the identity of a vigilante who is now very clearly out of retirement.
But he's keeping that close to the chest, right? He's keeping that to himself for right now.
It's a card that he's playing and he's holding on to, so we'll see if he uses it. It's not clear that the task force is a known thing, though, is it? Until the press conference at the end.
Yeah, you're right. I don't think that the people knew about it until then. Yeah. Did you happen to see the thumbnail for next week?
No. Is the Punisher back?
I don't know if the Punisher's back, but somebody else is back.
Who's back? Karen? Oh, who else do I want back?
Bullseye.
Oh, sure. That seems like the perfect guy to have on your anti-vigilante task force.
Yes. Yeah. I hope the Punisher comes back before the end of the season, but I won't be mad if he doesn't, as long as the second season continues directly off.
He's getting his own
sword. Yeah. Right. Yeah. So I'm not going to be mad if that's the one episode that we get of Frank this whole season. He nailed it. He knocked it out of the park. He's like, I'm hiding here in the sewer right now. I'm laying low. Yeah, there's some fanboys out there, but you got problems. Like you gotta work your shit out. I'm fine with that therapy session they got, but I won't be pissed if he does come back.
Maybe he comes back to kill Kingpin.
I would love a Daredevil and Punisher versus Kingpin together. That is an iconic thing from the comic books. It would be great. Fingers crossed. But I'm not getting entitled. I don't want to will something into existence or whatever. I'm just here for the ride. I just know the ride was a little bumpy these last 2 weeks. So I'm hoping when we get to penultimate time next week, we're steering the ship in the direction that is very clear to all of us. That's all. I just want to I want a penultimate episode to have you have very reasonable expectations for how the finale comes, right? Based on how this goes, you should have a good idea of where the story is going to end up. That's what I like out of my stories is when you get there to that climax. Okay, guys, now I have a feeling you're going to wrap it up this way. You can still surprise me here and there. That's fine, but don't jump the shark. That's all I'm saying. Just don't jump the shark. So that's all. I'm good. I'm good on this one. 7 out of 10.
7 out of 10. I'll give it the same. 7 out of 10.
Yeah.
I think that'll do it then, ladies and gentlemen. We'll wrap this up.
I'm so excited. We got 2 more.
2 more episodes left. We'll talk about episode 8 next week and 9 the following. But until then, true believers. Enough said.